Wang Jian was a rare and talented general. Under King Shi Huang of Qin, his role was irreplaceable during Qin's conquest of the world and its unification, with the exception of Han, which surrendered voluntarily. The remaining 5 states were annihilated by Wang Jian's cavalry. This renowned general had a unique habit. Whenever he went on an expedition, he would always make specific requests of the king of Qin, a practice that displeased Shi Huang, but he was forced to comply. When he first joined the army, Wang Jian was just an ordinary soldier, but his exceptional strategy and battlefield acumen quickly distinguished him, leading to his promotion to the rank of sergeant. The commander-in-chief of the Qin army, at the time, was none other than Bai Qi. Later known as the Man Butcher, this Wu Jun, feared by the 6 states, was a master of military strategy, preferring to strategize rather than personally lead the battle. While serving under Bai Qi, Wang Jian always looked up to the war god as a role model, eager to learn the essence of his tactics. However, due to a long period of lack of opportunities to participate in the war, he never achieved his goal until a turning point in 257 BC. That year, King Shi Huang of Qin launched an attack on Zhao, but suffered repeated setbacks and was driven back by the Zhao army. Back then, Bai Qi could have captured Handan and destroyed Zhao in one fell swoop, but he was forced to withdraw his troops due to an urgent summons from the king of Qin. Upon returning to the capital, he learned that the order to withdraw was not from King Shi Huang, but from the powerful minister Fan Zhu, a bribed official from Zhao, who had disregarded the interests of the state to protect his own power. At the time, a special envoy from Zhao advised Fan Zhu, if Bai Qi captures Handan, he will take all the credit. If you can preserve Zhao, you will not only claim the credit, but also receive generous gifts from Zhao. This advice struck a chord with Fan Zhu. He immediately persuaded King Shi Huang to cease the war, citing the Qin army's exhaustion from the long battle, and even suggested accepting Zhao's request for peace. Once the peace agreement was reached, the Qin army naturally could not launch another attack. King Shi Huang adopted this strategy and forced Bai Qi to withdraw. Upon returning to the court, Bai Qi confronted him, only to have his military power stripped and banished. The king of Qin's later years revealed his folly. Bai Qi had declared that any Qin attack on Zhao would be disastrous, and he vowed never to lead an army against Zhao. Years later, King Shi Huang broke the peace treaty, intent on swiftly destroying Zhao. Despite repeated changes of commander, the Qin army remained elusive. In desperation, King Shi Huang invited Bai Qi out of retirement a second time. Initially rebuffed, Bai Qi reasoned, in the past, the Qin army had been arrogant and complacent, while the Zhao army had endured hardships. Now, the Qin army's morale was low, while the Zhao army's was high. Even if he were in command, it would be difficult to reverse the defeat. This heartfelt advice was not appreciated. King Shi Huang was furious and demoted him to a soldier. Bai Qi, feeling humiliated at his fall from commander to mere pawn, retired to his homeland, ending his legendary military career. King Shi Huang of Qin, while seemingly agreeing to Bai Qi's retreat, harbored murderous intentions. As the war god reached a remote region, pursuers suddenly arrived bearing the king's secret order, a secret decree clearly stating Bai Qi's execution. Faced with this predictable outcome, Bai Qi remained calm, stating that he had foreseen this calamity, that when he had buried 400,000 surrendered soldiers alive. Before his execution, Bai Qi withdrew from his bosom a scroll of yellowed bamboo slips, a collection of his lifelong military wisdom. After handing the manual to the executioner, the god of death, feared by all 6 kingdoms, resolutely drew his sword and committed suicide. The Qin army, witnessing this scene, looked at each other in bewilderment. They had expected fierce resistance, but were surprised by Bai Qi's calm acceptance of his fate. The soldier in charge of the military manual dared not keep it for himself, but immediately presented it to the commanding officer, Wang Jian, who had volunteered for the task. As a great admirer of Bai Qi, Wang Jian wanted to take this opportunity to bid his idol a final farewell. Despite his mission, he was well aware of the principle of abandoning the enemy after their death, and understood that Bai Qi's fate today might be his own tomorrow. After returning to camp, Wang Jian concealed the manual close to his person, reporting only to the king of Qin that Bai Qi had been executed, never again mentioning the manual. Only when he was alone in his tent did he unfold the bamboo slips and pored over them. He was deeply impressed by Bai Qi's military wisdom that this manual rivaled any other classic text. Utilizing the strategies contained in the manual, Wang Jian achieved remarkable successes and quickly rose to the rank of general. In 236 BC, he led his first expedition as commander-in-chief, targeting the Zhao fortress of Yanyu. Before setting out on the campaign, Wang Jian convened a military rally, publicly dismissing the elderly, weak, and sick, and then selecting 80% of the remaining soldiers as elite soldiers. This army, composed of warriors handpicked from hundreds of miles away, ultimately helped him capture Yanyu, launching his renowned military career. Despite being highly valued, the memory of Bai Qi's suicide lingered in Wang Jian's mind. To avoid repeating the same mistake, he developed a peculiar habit. Every time he went on an expedition, he would demand generous rewards from the king of Qin. The larger the campaign, the greater the demands. On the eve of the attack on Chu, he even requested rewards 3 times in a row, simply to allay the king's suspicions. While this seemingly greedy behavior displeased Shi Huang, it effectively dispelled his suspicions. To the king of Qin, Wang Jian's indulgence, the pleasure demonstrated his lack of ambition. After all, every campaign involved a threat to TO the nation's foundation, and a general without weaknesses would be unsettling. Wang Jian's insatiable greed was, in the eyes of the king of Qin, precisely his ultimate safety net. However, Wang Jian remained wary. After the Six Kingdoms were annexed by Qin, he immediately requested retirement and returned home, not daring to delay even a moment. In fact, Yingzhang had long seen that through his self-preservation strategy, and bluntly declared, "I will not follow the example of the previous king. You may rest assured and lived out your remaining years in Xianyang, with the emperor's explicit instructions." Wang Jian remained in the capital, living out his final days in fear.